student likes wrestling report.
He has a large fan base. He did have a large fan base. Things didn't go ideal for him. And that's life. But I think, and I said it too, no, there's still money in CM Punk in pro wrestling. As particularly, I think, as a heel at first. I truly think that's the best way to have him come back and get heat for what things, and rather than have him come back and be that big baby face. That's a little harder sell in my opinion, at least right away. With that, even though I think people will accept him in that role. I'm curious, and I actually said this to WWE, and when I'm ready, and I believe in contracts in wrestling, and I actually pitched this. I remember to Jane Geddes, and my first contract when I was red hot, and I said, because I wanted a certain level of money, and they always try to get you for as low as they can. I go, well, let's make it incentive based off my performance. And let's go and like in the NFL, they put things, if you do this amount of thing, if you rush for this amount of yards, you pass, you get bonuses essentially. And like, I'm always fascinated that wrestling, and again, it's entertainment and scripted, and so maybe it is a little more difficult on that end, but I still believe there's a way to do it where you have a more incentive based contract where, if you are bringing in numbers, where you get paid adequately for it because you're making the company more money. I think with someone like Punk, too, in the level of money he was making in WWE at the time, and then he's probably has an even greater number in his head or a similar number with that. And to them, a lot of time has passed now, and mentally going through that with the fighting, and they don't, who knows truly what the interest level is. And I don't know, but I think Cody too, what he was saying is how hungry is Punk? Like, as far as he's achieved, a lot in pro wrestling, pretty much anything that you would want to do. And I think I don't know with his age, and he's not old by any means, but like, what's his mindset? Like, I think to me, that's the most important thing. The mindset part is are you coming in there and, do you want to be a part of change? Do you want to be a part of making wrestling better for everybody? And I think that's the mindset you need to have to go to AEW to a degree with what they're doing. And, everything with Punk and people talk about his pipe bomb promo, that was all for him.
Right.
That wasn't not in speaking up about things. It was very for Punk and get as much money. And I get it. And I understand it. And that's pro wrestling. But it's also right now with AEW, everything they're doing, I think it's about change for pro wrestling. And I think Punk going there would be absolutely, I think, fantastic for them to get a name like him to go over there. But again, it's going to come down to if the money's out of line, and I don't know what he's asking for, right. But if they're thinking more along the lines of $1 million a year or so, and he's thinking 4 or 5, they're drastically apart on that. So that's kind of where I was getting at, where you come up with an incentive-based deal that if he comes in there and fucking kicks ass and the interest level's really high, well, fucking have some bonuses in place and both sides win because they're making the money then. They're not losing anything, where it's not like, here's $5 million, we're going to WCW this, and you come in. And also, too, a lot of people are driven, and I know for me, when I'm very money-driven in things, when I see, if I know based off effort, like, and I kill myself no matter what. But if you put anything, you tell somebody, if you do this, you're going to get an extra $1 million. It's a great way to get work out of people. And I've always thought that with wrestling, I think there needs to be bonuses included in the contracts for things, and this is in AEW. And I think you tell a guy, we have your shirts. If you make us over $1 million in shirts this year, we're going to kick in another 10% bonus. Well, guess what? That guy's probably going to promote the fuck out of his shirts more on social media. You'll get the company's going to make more money regardless. I really think there's something to that in the contracts, and it doesn't have to be difficult. Yeah. But I think there is value in Punk, and I would be interested to know what that level of money was that he was asking for.
Yeah. And you mentioned the incentives. UFC, they give points on a pay-per-view.
Yep.
And I know WCW used to do that back in the day with some of the stars, like Hulk Hogan. I don't know exactly how much that happens now. I know where you are on the card kind of determines your pay-per-view pay as opposed to what you've done to get people interested in the show, more or less.
Yeah.
And with WWE, it does seem like harder to tell nowadays if someone is a draw because everyone has kind of been put on a even level, more or less. And
WWE is Family Feud.
Yeah.
That is what they've done. And what they've done is, it's the same format. They just switch out the family every so often. And what they've done is like, to me, watching those shows, the most interesting part, and a lot of shows will have a cap on it, but it's if you have a family on there that if they keep winning, they keep making more money, they can become multimillionaires if they just keep winning. And essentially, but they switch them out. That WWE, there's kind of that cap. Like if you win 3 shows, you're done. We switch out the families. That's kind of like the WWE is everyone's just, you can get to this level and that's where you're going to stay. And then we're going to switch out. And then if you get to that level, that's where you're going to stay. And it's just one big Family Feud show. And I think that's part of the problem. That's why, and I tell you with AEW, I look at this and I want to have creating fucking megastars in wrestling is not difficult. It's all they got to do. Talent have to back it up and fulfill their end. AEW is in such a position to kick WWE's ass if they want. And they create compelling storylines. Like, I look at it and I'm just like, I know the WWE model and I know they're not changing anytime soon. I think AEW is like, fuck, taking advantage of this. You guys are booking. You guys can do anything. You can break Goldberg's streak if you want to break Goldberg's streak. You can do anything.
Right.
You are in a prime position. And so that's where I'm looking at them with the potential is there where WWE, that Family Feud system, it's broken and it is what it is. Thank you guys very much for watching this clip, and to watch full episodes of the Shooting Blanks Wrestling Report and conversation with the big guy Ryback, subscribe to patreon.com/Ryback for exclusive videos of both shows. And always remember, feed me more.